Hello, everybody, and I'm absolutely delighted to have the opportunity to speak with you today about careers in nursing. Um, we could probably talk for 2 hours about nursing as a journey as a student and then as a career. So what I thought would be most useful to do today would be to consider the 4 different fields of nursing, because when you make your application to UCAS, you'll be asked which area of nursing you would like to study. And so I thought it might be helpful to talk about those different areas, what you can expect to do within those areas, and then the common traits that will help you to succeed in those professions, and also to consider those in the context of your application to university and beyond. I'll just start off by saying that all 4 fields of nursing are incredibly rich, rewarding, diverse areas in which to focus your career. So hopefully by looking at each in turn today, it will help you to think about where your skills and passion might lie. So start off with talking about adult nursing. And this is probably when you see TV shows like 24 Hours in A&E or Casualty and things like that. This is what you'll be thinking about when you see an adult nurse. So as the name suggests, you'll be treating and caring for people from young adulthood right through to end-of-life care in terms of physical health. And you'll find adult nurses working in a real variety of settings. So wherever healthcare is delivered, you'll find adult nurses. So hospitals, GP surgeries, in community settings, such as district nursing teams who might visit the home. But you'll also find them in other different settings, such as care homes, nursing homes, and prisons, and many more in between. And they will be part of a team that manages physical health conditions that range from the tip of your head, so neurological conditions in your brain, down to the tips of your toes, so musculoskeletal systems, and everything in between. So there's an absolutely fantastic opportunity there to find out what it is you're interested in, and to really shape your career up around that. So are you interested in how the heart works? Are you interested in dealing with emergencies? Are you interested in dealing with cancer? The list is really endless. And the great thing about adult nursing is that you potentially have the option to try lots of different things until you find the career that's quite right for you. Adult nurses work in teams, so being a team player is particularly important. However, it's really important to consider that actually you're not just part of a team, you will often be required to lead a team of healthcare professionals as an adult nurse. And so it's really worth thinking now about whether that's something you're interested in and whether you see yourself as this leader, as someone who can take on those responsibilities. Once you've qualified as an adult nurse, the world is your oyster in terms of further training and career progression. So lots of postgraduate study available. You might decide to become an advanced practitioner, or you might decide to become a district nurse, or you might want to be able to prescribe medicines. These are just a small snapshot of some of the courses you might choose to go on and do after you've qualified as an adult nurse. And really, these different options give you fantastic opportunity for career progression. So when you qualify, you'll be a staff nurse, but there are great opportunities as you move through the healthcare system to work all the way up to a nurse consultant, which is a really senior post should your aspirations be that lofty. So that's adult nursing. So again, this is a nurse that you may well see when you watch TV shows, and quite a widely acknowledged role of a nurse. And this is really where you treat and care for babies, young children, and young people. So that's from minutes after a baby is born up until sometimes around 19 years of age as children transition into adult services. So you might be looking after a baby who's literally just arrived into the world and has a heart condition. You might be looking after young children who have cancer, or you might be dealing with a teenager who's broken a limb in an accident, and everything in between. But this is really a job for people that particularly enjoy those relationships with young children and inevitably with their families. When you're looking after young people, you have to consider everybody that's around that child. And so you need to be able to communicate not only with the children, but with their families, who are often very concerned and worried and require as much management as the child themselves. So again, primarily the children's nurse will focus on physical health conditions, but there's more and more recognition of the fact that mental health certainly has a huge impact on physical health. And so it's the role of the children's nurse to not only understand the body and how a child's body works, but also to understand something about how a child develops and grows and their brain works, and those things all come together to produce optimum health for a child. So again, you might find children's nurses working in all the places you'd imagine, so the hospitals, in GP surgeries, with community teams, but there's also, again, lots of opportunity for further study to develop and enhance your career. So many children's nurses go on to train to be health visitors or school nurses and provide those specialist roles. There is also a large part of children's nursing, which is about safeguarding, which is about recognising risk and vulnerability and acting on that. And there's certainly opportunities to develop your career along those lines. So learning disability nursing. Now, learning disability nursing is one of the less visible career pathways within nursing. It's not as widely seen or recognised in our society, which is a real shame because our learning disability colleagues do such a fantastic job. So the role of the learning disability nurse, as is probably given away in the title, is that they work with people with learning disabilities and their families to provide really highly personalised care. Learning disability nursing is slightly different in that the disabilities that service users within this group experience are not reversible. So people are not going to recover from their learning disabilities. So the role of the learning disability nurse is really about helping to find ways to live life as fully as possible. And that's very unique for each person. But very rewarding. And this kind of role really requires somebody who is a great relationship builder, who wants to work with people and get to know them over a very long period of time. So it can take a long time for people to make changes within a learning disability setting. And so it is all about relationship building and working hard to achieve progress, really. Again, working in a variety of settings. Not so much a hospital. You're less likely to find learning disability nurses in a general hospital, but you will find them in assisted living centres, day centres, care homes, within family homes, lots of different scope within the community to work with people. And it's really about a partnership way of working. So not only are you working in a team with other healthcare professionals, with family, but you're also working with other agencies and other services. So there might be lots of liaison with social services and things like that around funding, around care packages. So you really need to be somebody who can cope with that kind of multi-agency approach. Last but not least, certainly not least, this is my field of nursing and one that I feel very passionately about. So mental health nurses work with people from a very, very young age, so from young children right through end of life care, so people living with dementia and in the final stages of their lives. Again, you'll find mental health nurses in hospitals, in communities, but also in specialist settings. So again, in prisons, in treatment centres, in detox and rehab. And my background is in substance use and people with serious mental illness. So you might be working with people who are experiencing psychosis, they may have mood disorders, they may have anxiety, they may have experienced trauma and be living with side effects of that. We work with people who are in mental health crisis, who might be suicidal, but then we go on to work with people to promote well-being and recovery and to help people lead the lives that they want to have. Mental health nurses also work within a multi-professional team, but because of the largely community-based nature of mental health nursing, you do have to be comfortable with a high degree of autonomy and feel quite comfortable in being an independent decision maker and in control of your own workload. And it's definitely not for everybody, but it is a skill that you learn as you move on in your career. Also an area with fantastic scope for specialism and career progression, particularly as mental health becomes more commonly understood, more widespread. We're seeing more and more services becoming available for people with mental health needs, and we need mental health nurses to work within them. So I just wanted to touch on the personal qualities that will stand you in good stead to become a nurse in any of the 4 fields. And my colleagues who've spoken already have touched on them, so I won't labour them too much. But it's really important in all fields of nursing that you are able to communicate well. So that means communicating on lots of different levels with lots of different people. It means being able to adapt and adjust your communication style to meet the needs of the people that you're working alongside. And you need to be able to communicate your passion and just how much you care for what you're doing, because nursing is certainly a job where you need that care and you need that drive and you need that compassion to keep going back every day, because as Lindsay touched on in her presentation, no 2 days are the same. There are many joys, but there are many challenges within nursing, and you certainly need to be resilient in order to be able to come back every day fresh to meet that day's challenges. So it's really about being a resilient person who's up for the challenge, who's ready to problem solve, and who has a good sense of humour. Really important for nurses is that one. It's about being organised. It's about having a practical approach to what you do, and being able to work with colleagues and other people around you. And they're on the presentation, so I won't labour them too much, other than to say, when you're making your application to university, that's in your UCAS form and at your interview, we want to see that you've considered these things. You've considered why you think you'd be a good nurse. So when you write a personal statement and when you come in for interview, don't just tell us that you're compassionate or that you care or that you're kind. It's really easy to find out that those are the things we want you to say on a form, but what we want you to do is to demonstrate to us how you're kind, how you're compassionate. So really give some thought to examples that show us that you're able to do that. So it's really important to think about those key skills and how they translate in your application to university. So we do say that we like people to have some experience in a care setting, and this can be really difficult for people. We recognise this, particularly if you're at school or college. It's not always easy to pick up that healthcare experience. And so I just wanted to touch on that today, and it's about thinking really, really widely. And as an admissions tutor, I really like to see that you've thought about the skills you might use in a healthcare setting, and you think about how they apply to your life now. So, has there been a time when at school you've supported a friend who was really upset about something? If you have, then tell us about that. But tell us how you did it. So, did you use your listening skills? Did you need to signpost that person to extra help and support? Did you take the person to a quiet space? Did you tell them that they could trust you? Just give us some examples as to how you've achieved those things. And that really shines through, and that's the difference between a mediocre personal statement, an interview, and an absolutely excellent personal statement. So just to reiterate that, think about the qualities that we've talked about today, and then think about how you can demonstrate those to an admissions tutor in your application.